pictures of the insulation that's going in the house that I could show you guys next week. All right, so you guys had a good week?
Yep, we did.
Cool. Well, a lot's been going on this week. Like I said, I was just outside. They're going ahead putting the insulation in the house. But today we're going to look at all the rest of the things they put inside the walls before they fill it up with insulation.
You don't need sharpened pencil now.
And if you remember last week, we saw they did the plumbing in the walls, and they also did the air conditioning, the HVAC system in the walls. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you now.
I didn't look yet, so I'm going to look at it later.
And the thing that they put inside the walls is actually all the electrical wires.
We're right in the middle of this presentation.
Now, this is the outside of the house right here, and this is where all the electricity goes into the house through this tube, which is connected to the electric wires that run down your street. And then this here is a meter that will calculate all the electricity that you use inside your home. And so it'll calculate how much you use, and then the utility company will charge the homeowners a bill every month based on how much electricity you use. Here you can see this is the box on the outside of the home, and it's connected underground here to the electric over here, which runs down the street. And this is how it comes inside the house. You can see there's a little hole here. And they've got a big, thick gray wire which carries all the wires through the house. You see it comes here through the wall. And it goes up. It goes up and it goes through the ceiling all the way here to this electric panel. Now this electric panel is actually inside the garage. And what it does is, once it's fully installed, it'll have switches to all the different electric breakers throughout the home. And you can see here it takes that big wire of electricity and divides it into a whole bunch of small wires that get distributed throughout the entire house. So you can see here, you've got all the different color wires, and they're going all these different directions. And they're going to be going to all the outlets and switches in all the rooms. Now you can see here are some of the different wires that are used. And you notice they're different colors, and each color actually represents a different thickness. The thicker the wire, the more electricity it can hold. So the outlet in your bathroom, which you might plug in your hair blow dryer, will require a thicker wire than the switch that turns on the lights. So they make sure to put the right thickness of wires to all the different outlets and switches based upon what they're going to be used for. You see here, this is one of our electricians, and he's running the wires through the walls. And they go ahead and here's the drill down here. They actually drill through the wood so that way the wires can pass through the walls. And then in the metal studs, there already are holes for the wires, but they put a little cap so that way the wires don't get cut by the sharp metal. Here's another view of the electric panel that I showed you before. You'll see it has all these different switches so you can turn on and off different parts of the electricity in the home. And our electricians that work on our house, they're actually a family. So that's the dad you saw before, and this is his son. And he's wiring to the lights that are going to be in the ceiling, the recessed cans. You can see here they're running through the walls, and they've got the little protection on the metal studs so the wires don't get cut. These are going to be outlets on the floor, which you might plug in a light, a lamp, or your telephone to. So you can see they've got the white wire, which is the thinnest. See here, this is what one of the boxes look like. They don't put the finish on the on the box until after the drywall's in. So they just make sure all the wires are in place. That way, once the drywall is installed, they can go ahead and put in the cap for the different outlets and switches. These are the boxes that are going to hold the recessed cans, which will have light bulbs in them. And they also got some wires that go to the outside of the house too. This is going to be for the water heater. This is for the air conditioning unit. Here we are, we're back in the house. This is in the kitchen. So you can see they've got some yellow, some thicker wires in the kitchen because like you might want to plug in like a blender or toaster oven in the wall, which will require a little bit more electricity. So they make sure they've got those thicker wires there. Some more pictures going all the different outlets. Here we've got, this is in the great room, so you've got where the TV, you've got the cable wire and also the data wire for phone and internet. And you've got to every room in the house, you have a wire for cable TV and also for your phone and your internet. These are all the recessed cans that are going to be in the ceiling over here. And this here's a structured wiring box. This is where you'll plug in your modem for your internet after you move in. So they got all the internet and phone wires running to this box so it can control the internet in the house. And you've got a really thick wire here. This is where the air conditioning unit is because that pulls a lot of electricity. Got a wire here for the doorbell, one outside for the fan, and that's a pretty good summary of all the electrical wires. And then I'll show you after the electrical wires in, we actually have the people who come in and that do our pest control. And we have a special system that goes in our home where we have little tubes that run through the walls. These green, this green wire are tubes that run around all the exterior walls, the bathroom and kitchen walls, where insects could come into your house. And this is a special system that we've got, and what happens is if you needed to call an exterminator to come spray for insects or bugs in your home, usually they'll have to make an appointment, come into your house, and then they'll spray chemicals along all your walls. Well, what this does is it allows the exterminator to actually put the chemicals inside the walls from the outside. So they never have to come inside. You never have chemicals actually inside your home. All the chemicals stay in the walls where the bugs will be and kill the bugs there.
Wait a second, Loree. So how many of you here have had the exterminator come into your house with that little small stick? And oh, so they have something built in. Were you able to follow it? So it's a tube. It's like a little tube, Loree?
Yeah, it's a tube, and the tube actually has little tiny holes in it. And this blue wire actually comes from the outside. I'll show you the box on the outside. And the exterminator will put chemicals in this tube from the outside of your home, and it'll disperse through these little holes in the green tube into the walls. So it will never actually get inside your home. All the chemicals will stay inside the walls.
So we wouldn't smell it, and your pets wouldn't...
You don't have to worry about your pets licking the chemicals off the floor. You don't have to open the door for the exterminator to come inside. He can do it all from the outside. You don't even need to be home. So they come and they go ahead and they hook all the wires to around everywhere where it's likely that bugs could be. So all the exterior walls, and then also wherever bathrooms and like kitchens, like wherever there's like sinks and stuff like that.
So no more ants. Or if they see ants, that means they. How long does the chemical stay in there? Is it like someone has to come once a year?
Yeah, there's a service that comes like maybe like every season. They might come and do like some sort of treatment, but and then you can as needed. But basically, yeah, it's just a service that we have these tubes in the walls that the homeowners can choose to use or to not to use but that way they don't have to worry about having the chemicals and the exterminator come inside their home if they ever have a bug problem.
Wait a second. How many people think that's a really good idea? Yeah, I do too. I need to be home. Great.
And you can see here, I'll just show you quickly. This is actually, it's a little box that's on the outside of the home, and this is what the exterminator will hook up to. He puts like a little hose on here, and this is what distributes to all the little wires inside the house.
You see that? He just has to hook up his machine to that, and then it goes throughout the whole house.
So in addition to them putting these little tubes in the walls, they also come and they finish spraying for the wood for the termites. So the tubes in the walls takes care of like insects and bugs and ants and stuff that that might bother you. But what they're doing next is actually protecting the walls from termites, which might eat the walls. So this is a separate chemical treatment for a separate type of insect problem. And what he's doing right now is he's actually mixing the chemicals in this bucket. Then he pours the bucket into this like backpack thing that he puts on his back, and then he's got this hose and he sprays, and they put a dye in the spray to turn it green, so that way they make sure they don't miss any spots. And they spray all the wood in the house 2 feet above the ground with this chemical to make sure that termites don't come and eat the wood. So that's in addition to the wires that they put in for the other insects. So that's what they did.
This is all from the house that we've been watching, right, Loree?
Yeah, this is the same house. They're just finishing up, putting all the different things in the walls. And then the next thing that happened, after they put these items in the walls, they were able to go ahead and install the roof. So the reason why they had to wait for everything to be put inside the walls is because if you remember, some of the things actually stick up out of the roof. Like the plumbers had to stick the pipes that for vents had to go through the roof. So once all those pipes and wires are in the house and they're through the roof and the walls, the roofers can come and they can actually go ahead and shingle the roof. So there's different types of roof coverings that you can use. We use architectural shingles, which are kind of like an asphalty material, and they have like a dimension to them. They're kind of layered, so one is on top of the other, and they last 30 years. At where you guys are, some of you guys might have tile roofs. There's different types of patterns of shingles that you can use. This is what we use here, and I actually have, I think I have a better picture that I just took. Let me see.
So you should look at your, you have a tile or flat shingle. They put flat shingles. They're flat. They kind of lay on top of one another, not like a big.
This is the actual shingle that goes on the roof. You can see this is what's actually visible. And they have a layer on the bottom and then a layer on the top, which just adds dimension to make it look a little bit prettier. And then this is what the shingle above it lays over. And then there's this little sticky piece that allows the shingles to kind of stick together. And then they're nailed into the roof. And the way it's done is, go back to these pictures. First, they have a truck that comes and they load the shingles onto the roof. Now, the shingles are very heavy. You can carry them up on a ladder onto the roof, but that would take a very long time to do. It might be a little bit dangerous. So they have this truck here that comes and they deliver the shingles, and this is like a conveyor belt that moves, and it moves the shingles. You can see here's a pack right here. One guy's loading it, and then there's another guy on the top of the roof who takes the shingles off, and he stacks them into neat piles on the roof.
Your doorbell.
Oh, yeah, I know. Someone else will get it. Okay, so you can see the shingles going up the conveyor belt, and then this is what it looks like after they're all stacked on the roof.
They put them all in different places, right? They can't put
Yeah,
them all in one
they
spot.
distribute them throughout the roof to make sure so the roofers don't have to walk very far to get a new pack, because they'll then have to carry the pack down to wherever they're nailing. So they kind of distribute it evenly so that way the roofers, when they come, they can easily access them. And just to remember a little bit of a review, they put these little flashings in all the valleys where there'll be a lot of water running down to prevent leaks. And then this paper that covers the roof is another water barrier. And there's a little drip edge around the corner, which is also helps the water to drip away from the home. And then you can see here, these are the vents from the plumbing that was put in the home through the walls that vents the air up through the roof.
So they don't put any kind of shingle on those little slopes.
They will. Like, this is what it looks like before. So this is all the prep. I was just reviewing what was already on the roof. Next, the roofers come, and there's about 5 or 6 guys that were working on this house, and they did it very fast. They finished the whole roof in less than 1 day. And the first thing that they do is they put they put shingles around the whole bottom edge of the roof. And that's to help prevent water from leaking in the home. And they actually, like, the shingle is kind of like upside down, and it sticks here to the bottom. So that's what the first thing they do is they go ahead and they put the border around the bottom. And while this guy's doing that, there's 2 guys over here, and it's a little bit difficult to see, but they actually have a string of chalk in their hand. So he's holding one end of the string, and this guy's holding the other end of the string, and they're snapping the string, and they're creating lines. So there's thin red lines that are straight that go all the way up the roof. So that way when they put the shingles down, they can make sure that they're even and straight. So he's going ahead and putting the border around the bottom, and these guys are doing the chalk lines.
So someone checks it before they nail it down?
Before they nail the shingles down, there is an inspector, and they come and make sure that the roof is prepared correctly. So they make sure all the paper on the roof, this felt paper, is correctly laid, and that the roof is prepared for the shingles. And then after the roof is shingled, an inspector will come back and take a look at it again. So the next thing is, you can see all the guys, there's about 5 or 6 guys on the roof. They are spread out around the home. They each take a little corner, and they start nailing with the nail gun the shingles down. And you can see he's carrying a pack from the pile to get started, and then they lay it down. They make sure they're straight and lined up with the chalk. And you can see they went very fast. They didn't get a ton of pictures, but you can see here's another guy on the other side of the house.
So they have that big that waste crate, and that's for all the debris?
Yeah, they have a big dumpster for all the debris. You can see here in the corners they have to cut the shingles wherever there's a corner so that way it's nice and straight. And they put a special cap shingle when they're done on the corner. I'll show you. You can see the roof is getting more and more finished. You can count, there's about 5 guys you can see here. And then this is what it looks like when it's done. I took this picture this morning. But you can see they've got a nice cap. They've got a nice cap along all the ridges. And you can see it's got a little bit of the architectural shingles make it look a little bit varied. And here's a close-up of, like I showed you guys before. This is a close-up of what the shingle looks like up close. And then when the roof is finished, this is what you get.
pretty good. How many shingles does it take to do a roof like that?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I don't know the answer, but you can see they filled up this truck filled with all the shingle pallets, and you can see they're layered all over the house. So it takes a lot, but they did it all in one day.
That's 5 men, right?
Yep. And then the next steps are I'll show you this thing that happened on the site this week, and then I'll show you a little video that I have. So next door to where that home is building, there's another house that we just finished, and the people moved into the house and they realized they could not get cable working for their TV. What happened was the cable company, they ran all the cable under the ground, but they forgot to wire this side of the street to this house. So the cable company had to come back out and they had to dig underground, and they had to put the cable back, they had to get the cable to go to this house. So that was kind of interesting. So I took some pictures. And I've got
Whose fault is that? Is that the cable company's fault, right?
It's the cable company's responsibility. So what they had to do is they had to go to they had to go down the street and they had to mark with spray paint. They had to locate all the different things under the ground, all the different wires with spray paint to make sure that they didn't hit anything when they dug the hole. Then they dug this big hole under the ground. This is actually my house where I live, so it's right next to my house. They dug a big hole underground, and they had to wire the cable under the sidewalk. I've got a better picture over here. Sorry, let me just find a good picture to show you guys.
So I guess they have to pay for the grass to put back, right? New grass?
Yeah, they actually did a good job. They didn't really, they removed the grass, but they kept it, and then they just put it back on top, and it actually looks pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see they've got the cable under here, and they dug a huge hole underneath the hole had to go underneath the entire road, under the sidewalk, and then they had this machine here. And these pipes are filled with water to give it strength and pressure. And this is what dug the hole, and this is what pulled the cable underneath the ground. Here we go. So you can see you've got the cable wire here on this side of the street. They had to dig all the way from under here, under the road, under the sidewalk to this side of the street. And they had to pull the cable wire through. Now I'm going to show you a little video quickly. You can see here they got the cable through.
That's the cable man?
That's the cable, and they're going to hook it up to the box for these people so they can watch TV. And so I'm going to show you guys a little video, a couple videos, and then you guys can ask me questions.
What's the video of?
This one first is a video of the machine that was used to pull the cable.
That's the one who had to get the mistake.
Yeah. And this is the inspector's car over here. So there's an inspector here watching to make sure they do it right. See, they're pulling the cable underneath the road from across the street.
Did everyone else's cable get turned off?
No, actually, no one else's cable was affected. And as he pulls it through, he takes off another piece of the pipe.
Oh, do you see the machine on the right, how it's cranking? There it goes. See, like the arm?
And there's the cable there coming through.
Oh, do you see that? He's right here. Is he pulling by himself, or is it? See,
no, the machine's pulling it. You can see here the machine.
It's got to go through. That's how you get the cable. Nickelodeon. Whatever. Just trying to get it to the house.
And it got through. Now they're going to pull it. So I thought that was neat. You kind of the machine that they use. And he's pulling it out. And here's another view of the machine here. And then the other video that I've got for you guys is I did a little interview with one of our electricians, but you'll have to let me know if you can hear it okay, because it was kind of loud when I was recording him. I have questions for you guys.
Okay, I'm recording now.
I think I might have one turned.
Yeah, he's on his side.
Russ, no, it's good. We can go to sleep.
Oh, there he goes.
I'm recording now. And why don't you go ahead and say your name and kind of what your job is? Now, Jordan, you work with your family, right? How do you like that?
He's holding on. Kind of hard to hear him.
Well, he was just saying he's an electrician. He's been working with his family since he was 18. He's 28 now, so he's been working with them for over a decade doing the electrical work. See what else he's got to say.
How long have you guys been doing the electrical work?
He was saying that he started working with his dad when he was 15 years old, and then when he turned 18, he was working full-time with his dad.
What are you doing right now?
Is there a seat there? Or is he just... Yeah, but his knees are bent.
So he won't hit his head.
He's holding on.
Yeah, he was just saying right now what they're doing is they're doing the rough part of the electrical through the wires, and then they're going to come back later once the walls are in to put in all the lighting fixtures.
Interesting information you want to share with them?
All right, we can see him. He's in his father's business. Just holding on.
He said being an electrician is a good career, it's good to know a skill, and it's just as good as, like, you know, getting your business degree, having the business, and doing. He was basically saying how it's a good job, he likes it.
Now, what kind of math do you use when doing the electrical?
Did he say geometry? Loree will repeat it.
Cool. Thanks, Jordan.
All right, I'm sorry if it was a little bit hard to hear, but basically he said they use a lot of math, they do a lot of measuring, a lot of geometry to make sure they get all the fixtures in the right spot.
That's interesting. Loree, he doesn't wear any protective gear.
No, I guess not at that time. He wasn't. He was on a ladder, so probably it's best if you protect your head in case you fall. But he's got a lot of experience climbing up and down those ladders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pretty good summary of everything that happened this week on the site. And
So we have some questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a Woody and I have a question. What city is the house being built in?
This house is being built in Gainesville, Florida. So it's about 5 hours north of where you guys are right now, right in the middle of Florida.
I'm Ryan. Do you have to put a certain type of roof on a certain type of house?
That's a great question. The type of roof that you put on your house depends what the climate is where you live, and also the support that you have on the walls. So in Gainesville, most of the homes use the architectural shingles, and all the trusses and engineering for the home calculates, the heaviness and thickness of that roof. But if you guys notice where you live in South Florida, in Coral Springs, there's a lot of tile roofs. So mostly depends on the popularity of the area of which you live and the climate, because some climates allow tile roofs, some do not. And then also just kind of the preference of the people who live there.
Are they hurricane proof?
That is a great question. They are, the house is engineered to resist a certain speed of hurricane winds. So all over the state of Florida, the government went ahead and they zoned different areas of Florida and said the homes in this location need to be able to resist 130-mile-per-hour winds or 150-mile-per-hour winds. So in Gainesville, the homes are engineered to make sure they can withstand the wind that was designated by the government for this area. So where you guys live, the homes need to be built to withstand much stronger winds than where we are located. The shingles are supposed to last 30 years. That's their warranty.
Go ahead. Questions in New York.
I am Carson. Why do you like building houses?
What do I like about building houses?
Why do you like? Is it why do you like?
Yeah.
Why do you like? Why do you like the building of the houses?
Well, it's really fun to see all the different types of trades that work on the house, and it's really neat to be able to take land from basically just dirt and make it into a really pretty neighborhood that people really enjoy to live in, that has lots of different amenities like parks and pools and different trees, and have people live in really nice, pretty homes.
I'm Louisa. How do you stick the wires inside the walls?
Is it the exterminator wires? Yeah. The exterminator.
That's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a picture to show you. Okay, so from the outside of the house, they drill a hole and they bring all the wires from the outside to the inside. So they drill a hole through the wood. Then once it's in the house, they distribute the wires and they drill more holes in all the wood throughout. They distribute the wires throughout the house, and basically just they drill the wood and they pull the wires through, and they connect them all together.
Got it? Ready, Skylar? Tell me you are.
My name's Skylar. Is this house close to where you live?
Yeah, it's actually right across the street. I could see it from my house, which is why I'm able to take so many pictures, because I could see whenever people are over there working, I could just run outside and take pictures for you guys.
And do you have a picture of your house?
Yeah, I do. You can see it a little bit here. Let me share my screen again. When they're pulling the cable was actually coming right from next to my house. So you can see here's the wire. This is the corner of my house right here. But I'll show you a better picture. Gotta find it quickly.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, pretty.
That's my house.
Big. And how long have you been building this house that we've been looking at?
Well, the house, I started it exactly when we started doing these lessons, so maybe a couple months. It's probably like halfway done, the house.
what if bugs and other animals do come in and eat the wood?
Oh, what if you get termites?
Well, there are termites in the ground. And there are termites in the ground all around the house. But what we do is we put that chemical on all the things, on all the wood that the termite likes to eat, and we make sure we treat it right away so that way the termites can't get to it. So even though there are termites really close to the house in the ground, it's not going to affect that house because we sprayed the chemical that the termites will not eat. So, yeah, so as long as they make sure, that's why they color the treatment green, so they make sure that they don't miss any spots in the house. They make sure they get into every crack and every piece of wood above a certain height.
And who gets the money when the people buy the house?
Who gets money? Well, as you guys can see, every week there's a lot of people working on the house. I think this week we saw maybe like at least 10 different people working on the house. So there's a lot of different people who work on the house, and all these people get paid for the work they do. So the money goes towards paying all the workers. It also goes towards buying the land, because we had to buy the land to build the house on. And then it goes towards building the next house for the next person to buy.
Oh, that's how they get more money to make more houses. And on and on. But I'm sure you get a little money to herself, right?
Yeah, I guess we count as some of the people who work on the homes because we make the plans and we're managing there. So we count ourselves as the people who work on that house.
Kensington?
Hello, my name is Kensington. Did you did you plan out your house and build it?
Yeah, we did. We built the house that I'm living in right now, and actually right now I have a new floor plan for a house that we're going to be building that we're going to be moving to next year. So that's a nice perk of being a home builder is you get to build your own house, design your own floor plan, and pick out everything that you want inside of it.
You want me to give it to Ian and then we'll give it back to you? Okay.
Ian, do you build other buildings and houses?
Oh, other buildings other than houses?
That's a great question. Right now we're only building houses, but some of our new communities that we're going to be starting are planned to have like commercial buildings, like different stores and restaurants, and then they might also have some different townhomes. So right now we're just building houses, but in the future, some of our communities we could be building other stores or clubhouses, pools, stuff like that.
My name is Shermie. How do you stick the roof to the top of the house?
The roof is actually, they have a nail gun, and they go ahead and they nail the shingle, like maybe they put like 6 nails in every shingle that goes on the roof. So it's connected by nails. In addition, each shingle has a thin layer of like a sticky material that when it's left in the sun heats up that material and it sticks the shingles together.
Do you build houses? Do you build schools?
We do not build schools, but something that happens is, as a builder, let's say we want to start a new community, the city might tell us, hey, you're going to be having, 100 new families moving to this community. We need to have another school because there's not enough room for all these new kids that are going to be moving into your community. So the city or the county might tell you that part of you building this new community, you might have to donate land or money for a school to be built.
I'm Jada. What ingredient makes the pest spray green?
Oh, that's a great question. It's actually a dye, and so just like if you were tie-dyeing your shirt or maybe you're dyeing some food. It's just a regular dye. It doesn't actually have any chemicals. Its only purpose is to make it green so you can look. So they just mix in the dye with the other chemicals.
How long have you been building houses?
We've been building houses for 5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years.
Couple more, then we gotta move on.
Do you have a favorite house?
Do I have a favorite house? I do like to go around I do have favorite floor plans that I like, and then also some of the houses, like I like some of the colors better. So like there might be one house where I really love the color that was painted or the stone that is on the wall. I could show you my recent favorite. It kind of changes, every week. But my recent favorite house is, let's see if I can, is this one. This one we just sold, and this one was my favorite last week. I like the color and the stone on it. I thought it was pretty.
And Lisa, you have a question? We have 2 more questions.
Why do you need to dye the liquid that you use to get the termites away? Why do you have to dye it green?
That's a great question. The reason why they dye it green is to make sure they don't miss any spots. So imagine if you were spraying clear liquid onto the wood, you might not remember where you sprayed and where you didn't, or if you missed a corner or a piece of the wall. And it's really important that you get every single inch of that surface, because if you leave a little spot without that chemical, the termites will find it and they'll come and they'll start eating your house. So that's why they dye it green, to make sure they don't miss any spots.
One more question.
My name is Ryan. Do you have a certain amount of shingles for like a certain size house?
That's a great question. We actually, when we design the floor plan and the roof, we can actually calculate the area of the roof. And so we're able to estimate how many shingles are needed. I don't know exactly how many were needed for that house, but we do have it estimated, and then we order the shingles from a company, and we're able to order the amount needed for that house. Now, that house that we're watching actually were 3 bundles short. So the roofers came, they did the whole house in one day, but they were short 3 bundles. So there was one little patch that they had to come back the next day to finish. We had to call the company that delivers the shingles, and they had to come and deliver a couple extra to finish. So for that particular house, we actually underestimated. We didn't have the right amount. But yeah, we can calculate the area on the plans. And because this was a new floor plan, it was estimated, and we estimated a little bit under. So next time we'll know exactly how many we need.
Oh, because it was a new design.
Yeah.
Correct? The house that we're watching is a new design. Loree, what's next week? Because I think the week after, I think we're on vacation or starting, but next week.
Well, next week we will see the insulation that goes into the walls, to make sure that your home stays nice and conditioned. So we'll see the insulation. They also loaded the drywall, so you might get to see some of the drywall starting to go up as well.
Well, great. Jada, you had something that you wanted to add?
No, it was that next week. We can't do it on Friday because next Friday is no school.
No, this coming up Friday we have school. It's the week after. Okay? So we're looking forward to insulation. Insulation makes the house stay cool and stay warm, correct? It's in between the wall and the framing.
Yeah, and we use a special type of energy efficient insulation, so I'll show you exactly how the insulation, it's actually blown into the walls. I'll show you all that.
Oh, the machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All righty. So thanks, Loree. We'll see you next week, and I'll speak to you later. Everyone?
All right. Have a good weekend.
Bye, Loree.
Bye, Loree.